This is music, and this is Collecting in Style. In this video, I'm just going to talk about OGs versus reissues and repressings, and so on and so forth, of vinyls, because of course it also exists within other formats. Now, I've mentioned in a previous video that the vinyl community, at least the metal part of it, is very non-normative. It's very accepting towards different preferences, different styles of collecting, and that's one of the really great things I think about the this part of the vinyl community. Now, some people have a preference for original pressings, OGs, and some people don't care, right? I just want it in vinyl. Doesn't matter whether it's something that was pressed back in the day or a reissue or whatever. I guess there are some people that prefer reissues because I think that the pressing technology is probably better now, right? And then there are people that more like audiophiles that say, I just prefer the one that sounds the best. So, and all four are of course completely valid ways of going about it. I probably fall under the heading of the second type, the people that would just like to have it on vinyl and they don't really care if it's like an OG or a repressing. There are also people that are release completionists. So they want all pressings of a particular release. So they want the reissues, they want the original pressings, and so on and so forth. So I guess that's another way to go about it. I occasionally do buy a reissue and an OG of the same if I have some particular interest, like if I just want to see if they sound different or whatever. But for the most part, I have no preference. I'm equally happy with a reissue as I am with an OG. Maybe one thing about OGs that kind of attracts me a bit is that, of course, any sort of OG that I will buy for my vinyl collection, because my vinyl collection, most of it is 1980 to 1995, so that'll be secondhand, right? And there's of course this extra attractive thing that if I buy something secondhand, somebody else will have owned it. It'll have had a life before me. It has, some character. Maybe there's a scratch somewhere on the not on the vinyl itself too, but I'm thinking a scratch maybe on the sleeve, or maybe you can see, they kind of stored it like this, or you can see, there's ring wear, so they kept it inside the sleeve like most of us did back then. Because back then, let's face it, vinyl was just a medium for music. Okay, it's more recently that it's become like also an object of collection and maintenance and things like that for most people. So of course that's an attraction point about OGs, that it's cool, they've had lives. For example, I have a couple of vinyls in my collection that were owned by radio stations. So they have like the stamp and things like that, which I think is pretty cool. Just the thought that, hold on, in this regional local radio station, they actually played this thrash metal album on air. That's pretty cool, right? Or because some of them have like names on them. There's a person called Kel who owned this. That's kind of fun. I even have one that I picked up. There's a person with the same name as me. So they already wrote my name on it technically, right? That is kind of fun as well. So OGs to me have lots of history to them, and that's of course attractive. But at the end of the day, I would just like to have something on vinyl, and OG or reissue is fine. Of course, there are cases like Cold Lake where they refuse to reissue it because Celtic Frost, I guess Tom Warrior, hates it so much himself that he refuses for it to be reissued, so I had to pick up an OG of that, of course. All the other Celtic Frost I have, that's actually the those reissues that are really heavy, because they have like two 180-gram vinyls in them, and big booklets and things like that. And that's, I guess, another thing, if we talk about the attractive stuff about reissues, is that a lot of them will come with extra paraphernalia, you know, like posters. High Roller, for example, reissue a lot of stuff, and they pop in posters and postcards and small booklets with information, and of course their catalog. And it's all kind of a package, and sometimes even you get like a 7-inch that's part of the package, which is really cool. I have a couple of those. Not a lot of OGs did that. I know Kiss did it with a lot of their original releases. They actually did it, and some other albums have some extra stuff in it, but for the most part it was just a jacket, a vinyl, and then an inner sleeve, and maybe if you were lucky it had vocals, not vocals, vinyls, not vinyls, lyrics. There you go. It had lyrics on it, or some liner notes or something. But a lot of reissues, they do more with that stuff. Not all of them. There's still lots of reissues. That's just the album and an inner sleeve and an outer sleeve, and there you go. Another thing is that a lot of reissues will maybe be remastered, even remixed, and some of them will actually sound better than the OG. Harmless Rebel did a video on Doomsday for the Deceiver, I think it was. It was a Flotsam and Jetsam album for sure, and played the original and the reissue side by side, and the reissue sounded much, much, much better. So I think that would be sort of the considerations that an audiophile would go for. And although I don't consider myself an audiophile, I do kind of appreciate if it sounds better, you know what I mean? Anyways, I do have, as I mentioned, like some cases where I have both the reissue and the OG, and that's actually the case here with Fly on the Wall, which I like. It's a bit of an underrated AC/DC album. So this one here is an OG, and also what qualifies as an OG. I think there are kind of like different opinions on that. Some people say it has to be the first pressing, right? Other people say, well, it has to be just pressings from the year it was released, right? And I'm probably in that camp, that it just has to be a pressing from the year, or maybe even around that time, because maybe it was released in the States in, I don't know, 84, and in Europe in 85. Then to me, the European release from 85 will also count as an OG. So maybe I'm a bit large with that. But so this is the OG of Fly on the Wall. It has a price tag on it. Maybe I can remove it. I've been a bit scared to remove it because I don't want to damage the jacket itself. I don't want to damage that, because I kind of like, sort of more like to protect the completeness of the visual output. So that's why I've kept the price sticker on. Also, there are some cases where I like to have the price sticker because it has the original price from 1984, and it was like, holy crap, was it that cheap back then? And this, this is also interesting because I can see it says DM Deutschmark. So that's German. Somebody went to Germany to buy this. So I'm probably going to keep the sticker on. But, right, so it comes with this inner sleeve here, and it's actually poly-lined, which is pretty cool because, you know, it's an OG. It's poly-lined, right? It has some artwork on it, has lyrics on it, and that's what it came with. So, right, so that's the original, right? It had some pretty cool stuff in it. The reissue, again, same jacket. A difference is that on the original, it had sort of the title and the code as well. Here, let me just find it again so you can see it. Right, has the title on top probably can't see the exact title, but you can see that there's some writing on it. And this is probably because back in the day, radio stations also played vinyl, and it was kind of like easier for them, you know, if they could see the title on the top as well, so they didn't have to flip through it. I guess, I don't know, I'm not a radio DJ. The new one doesn't have that. The new one has a completely different inner sleeve, right, with some liner notes, some pictures, but it's not polylined. It's a sort of a thick paper inner sleeve, and I don't like storing my records in these paper inner sleeves. First of all, because they can damage the records, and secondly, the record can damage the sleeve. It can kind of like work its way through the bottom. I've seen that many times. So it comes with that, but no lyrics, right? So that's interesting. And the vinyl itself, I didn't show you the previous vinyl, maybe I should. But the vinyl itself comes with this label here. It's a pretty thick 180 gram vinyl, right? So the vinyl itself is probably of better quality, I can imagine. The OG vinyl is, it's not one of those super thin, flimsy vinyls, right? But it's, I need to clean it, I can see that. So it's not super flimsy, but it's thinner. There's a lot of dust on it. I don't know if you can see there's some dirt on it, so I definitely need to give that a clean, right? Different label as well. So sometimes I can see why, you know, you would like more versions of the same, like both an OG and a reissue, because they come with different things. In this case, to be honest, I bought the OG by accident because I had ordered the reissue and I'd forgotten I'd ordered it, and then I saw the OG in the wild and I thought, hey, fly on the wall, not that expensive, I'll pick it up. And then I think the next day the reissue appeared in the mailbox. So there you go. Anyways, OGs versus reissues. Personally, I'm fine with either. OGs have some the upper hand to me in one respect, namely the sort of, they have history, they have character, and reissues have an upper hand in another respect. You know, it's like newer, it's made with newer pressing technology. They don't necessarily sound better, because if it's the same, what do they call that? I'm just gonna say template, but the same kind of thing they use to press it as the original. The original will probably sound better because it's not worn down. I don't know what it's called. Stamp, whatever, you know what I mean? If you know what it's called, please type it in the comment box. So it doesn't have to sound better, but reissues can be remixed and remastered and might sound better because of that. And also, they will typically be more accessible because they're newer, you know what I mean? And so there might be more of them out there in retail stores. But there were probably more pressings made of OGs because the vinyl was one of the main media back in the day, whereas now it's kind of like more like a collector's thing, although it had a resurgence. So I belong to the kind of collector, I'm fine with either. But as I showed you with the AC/DC one, there are some fun differences. And what I'm going to do after this video is I am probably going to clean the OG, because that was a bit too messy. But anyways, that's OG versus reissue. Thanks for watching.